Yeah, so this is the first Apple product launch in a decade, in 10 years. $3,500, as you mentioned, that's the base price, the starting price, but that was not enough. And despite this wintry, wet weather, not enough to deter the diehards this morning. So they lined up pretty early, and that's because CEO Tim Cook also in attendance to open up the doors of the Fifth Avenue iconic Cube. And what Apple's doing is betting that we're going to spend more time in the virtual world, spatial computing, as they call it. And I'm sure you've seen the commercials because it looks like an expensive pair of ski goggles loaded with tech. So think of wearing 4 iPhones on your face. Now I caught up with Tim Cook and I asked him about the price point, $3,500, which he defended as value, saying that you're paying for a piece of tomorrow today. Also, just like the Mac, as more people will use the device, they'll figure out new things to use it for. Now, also, it's interesting that the diehards that lined up early this morning were the actual developers, and they wanted to be the first to get their hands on the Vision Pro, and they said price was not an issue.
Money, but yeah, again, this is a revolutionary product. It's like the next iPhone, in my opinion.
The price point is not throwing me off. Like, I'm willing to pay $3,500.
It's that moment where you're going to see, like, oh, is this going to be a big hit or not? We don't know yet until we try it.
Now, the Vision Pro launch takes place a day after earnings yesterday, so the stock dropped in reaction, recovering a bit now. But despite the fact that you had Apple ending their longest losing streak in 20 years, that's a full year of falling sales, analysts in Wall Street were disappointed by China, which came up light by $3 billion in the quarter. I spoke to Tim Cook on the earnings last night, and he says, look, you have a week less this year compared to last year for sales. Also, he blamed the currency. He says, if you look at mainland China and convert to constant currency, we were down in the mid-single digits for iPhone, and the dollar is very strong. That particularly affects China, but we were glad that iPhone performed better than many of the other categories, and he feels good about the long term of both countries, so meaning the US and China. But Neil, nerd to nerd here, I can tell you I've tried the Quest 3 and I've tried the Vision Pro. This is pretty incredible tech.
Here's what I want to ask you, though. I'm not sure what it is exactly. Is it for gaming? Is it for watching movies? Seriously, what is it? If you had to describe it in a sentence, what is it?
I would say all of that. So you live virtually, you live inside the actual content. So if you're watching a movie, Tim Cook said he watched the entire 3rd season of Ted Lasso in the Vision Pro. You're inside the episode. My favorite part, and this is pretty emotional, you know, we have aging parents and young kids, you get to live inside your family photos and the videos. So think of having dinner every night with the kids when they were 5 years old or 6 years old.
I don't think I can get through this broadcast. All right, Susan, now I know. Now I know. That's very, very good.
Yeah.
That summed it up very nicely. Susan Lee on a $3,500 headset.